for my class project. Besides to doing the School-to-Prison pipeline. So I'd like to just give a brief introduction of yourselves and what you do and how I know you, whatever.
Thanks a lot, Anthony. My name is Cortez Watson Jr. Thanks for setting this up at 11 o'clock at night. I know we're on college time here. My name is Cortez Watson Jr. I am the founder and president of the Hip-Hop.FIRM. The Hip-Hop.FIRM is an organization development consultancy that specializes in OD intervention in education and OD intervention in youth development. At the Hip-Hop.FIRM, we consider ourselves to be a collective of educational architects or learning architects, revisioning and building the next generation of learning experiences at the academic intersections of Black youth development, or BYD, the hip hop phenomenon, and critical race theory. And all of this information is on our website. So I'll make sure, Anthony, that you get access to that, and then you can disseminate that website and students can check in and shoot me an email. I'll make sure I give you my email as well if they want to know more about some of the postmodernism, transformative work that we're doing at the organization. And from there, I'll go ahead. Let's get into the questions you have.
First question, and that is, what is the school-to-prison pipeline in your opinion?
So, well, the first thing I want to make sure is that you and I are clear on terminology. The terminology school-to-prison pipeline is mid to late 80s, early 90s. Within the 90s to early 2000s, there's been a shift, and the academic language does not frame it as a pipeline, which is linear, but as a nexus. So it's the school-to-prison nexus. Got it? So it's the school-to-prison nexus. And I won't give you my opinion. I'll give you what the literature says, pulling from David Stovall's work out of UIC, pulling from Erica Meyer's work out of Northeastern Illinois University. And those are some of the more regional scholars who talk about the phenomenon. The school-to-prison nexus is the understanding that young people, specifically young Black and brown people, and more particularly young Black males, are being socialized and funneled into a carceral state of mind and a carceral state of being through schooling, and impacted by other social constructs. So school is one socially constructed experience. Community housing is a socially constructed experience. Healthcare is a socially constructed experience. Access to resources, as well as nutrition, socially constructed experience. And all of these experiences are converging through a nexus, if you will, to impact young people, to essentially directly and or indirectly prepare them for incarceration. And then one short example of that is walk in a line, quiet in the hall, hands behind your back. These are some of the very same directives that people are giving when in mass incarceration. Walk in a straight line, hands behind your back, no one talk. Very similar. And when that happens in public schooling, say that it is structure. When that's happening in the carceral state, we say that that is order. Challenge with that is there is no fundamental difference between either one. There's no fundamental difference between second grade boys in a Chicago public school doing that and 40-year-old men in jail doing that.
Does school-to-prison pipeline relate to you? If so, how does it relate to you and why?
Another correction, the school-to-prison nexus.
School-to-prison nexus, correct.
Yeah, so it relates to me with a duality of sorts. One of the ways it relates to me is so I'm in that unique place where I'm looking back and still looking forward, emotionally, professionally, academically, because I'm in PhD courses right now. And it relates to my life's work. Graduating undergrad at the age of 24, and every job that I've worked from the age of 16 until now and then graduating undergrad from the age of 24 now, have absolutely been engaged with the population most affected by the school-to-prison nexus, which is the African-American boy. 1 in every 3 black baby born in America and assigned the distinction of male, 1 out of every 3 will experience a criminal conviction and incarceration of some kind. So that means that if 3 black boys are born, or at least black boys assigned the distinction of male, we can expect that 1 of them will become in prison. And then I have been in a position to public schools and private schools in neighborhoods, in youth development work, juvenile justice work. I've worked with this population, that 1 in 3 population, my entire career. So it definitely affects me in that way. It also affects me with my own positionality. I'm a black male. I'm a black male who was once a black boy. I'm a black boy who comes from poverty. I'm a black boy who was labeled, we call this special ed in the 90s. I think the appropriate term is diverse learner. So all these things make me also a member of the population. Like yourself.
Now, since you mentioned how it relates to you, how does it relate to your community? How does it affect your community?
So I'm thinking about community in a very tiered or layered way. In a very macro sense, the entire world is all of our community, right? I mean, as a member of the world community, I am absolutely black. I'm black born in the United States of America. There are black people born in France. There are black people born in New Zealand. There are black people born in Nigeria. So black people are all over the world. And I'm a part of that world community of black people. And they're scaffolding that down, being black in America, like that's my community. Black people who I agree with sociopolitically and those who I don't. And then more specifically, being born in North Lawndale on the west side, moving to Evanston when I was 6, graduating undergrad at 24, and now working professionally in Chicago's west side and North Lawndale, black community. Austin, West Side, black community. West Garfield Park, West Side, black community. And these are the spaces I work in now professionally. And these are the spaces that are tremendously impacted by the school-to-prison nexus, Chicago's West Side, without question.
So since you spoke more of the spaces that are impacted, so now what are some solutions that you believe should be applied in those spaces to help resolve?
Yeah, to be honest, that's a great question, Anthony. From a solutionary standpoint, I think it's complex. I'm a firm believer in complex problems take complex solutions. So I don't think there's any one solution. We're talking about healthcare. We're talking about education. We're talking about educators and their pedagogical approaches to teaching. We're talking about a lot of different entry points. So I don't think, but I think we can think about this a little unilaterally, and I can speak generatively and say we definitely need to do things that are the opposite of what we've done historically. The laws of physics say every action have an opposite and or equal reaction. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing and expecting a different outcome. So we definitely need to do some things that are completely different from what we've already done. And then we need to combine that with an understanding. And this is your generation a lot more than mine. This framing of Black Lives Matter. We need to take that and we need to actually position that and be clear that if these lives matter, then we cannot discard them, neglect them, and or incarcerate them. And make sure from a philosophical standpoint that that thinking is applied to the way we generate solutions. If no one is discardable, then we have to approach it in a way where we can't throw anyone away. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And at some point, I'm hoping the Hip-Hop.FIRM, as we continue to do this work on different college campuses, hopefully we can come down there this spring, shameless plug, right? Hopefully some administrators or something, or we can do something, maybe through the Black Student Union or student government, and build on some of this conversation down there in a participatory way with students. But what's your next question?
As well, since you spoke of the community, you spoke of like what you believe, what the solutions you could help, because you said there are multiple issues. So next question now is, what do you think are the major issues with the juvenile system?
Yeah, the major issues with the juvenile justice system are the major issues with the criminal justice system. First, we need a shift in language and a shift in understanding. It is, in my opinion, inappropriate for us to say all people criminals and then say that they are given justice. I think we need to be honest about what it is. It's not a criminal justice system. It's a criminal legal system. And then extracting the word and understandings of justice, now we can have a different, possibly more restorative conversation about what does justice look like for the most vulnerable within a society. So same thing with juvenile justice. I don't call it a juvenile justice system. I call it a juvenile legal system. And then I tell myself, do I want to be handling youth, whether it's age 0 or age 25? So that's all the people, 0 to 25. Do I, Cortez Watson Jr., want to be handling young people using criminality, or do I want to be handling young people using social justice? And it's starting at that fundamental question. But to fundamental question, first I choose to make a clear distinction. Shouldn't be a juvenile justice system. It should be considered a juvenile legal system because it's about legality, not justice. And then separate from that legal system, have the conversations about what is just for a 13-year-old Black boy on Chicago's West Side. And then I add the word social. What is socially just? And then there's some other words we can add in there too. What is socially just? What is racially just? What is economically just? What is just in the scope of health and wellness? What is just in the scope of gender and identity? Then now see how all these different complexities start coming in? Then I can begin to ask different questions. And then when I work with, for example, a young man from the West Side named Anthony, now Cortez, can approach Anthony in a very different way.
Cortez, I appreciate you for coming through to take the time to do this video with me. And I know you do a lot of important things in our community.
You're being incredibly kind, man. I appreciate that. As I say, I'm a reflection of my brother. So I'm hoping I can be a reflection of you and the intelligent ways and the intentional ways you are using your experience at Millikan University to both transform and make a difference in the world. So thanks, man. That's high praise coming from you.
Appreciate it a lot. All right, big bro. I'm gonna end the Zoom right now. I'll catch you later.
All right, let me go ahead and end the recording.
Okay.